New format. How we're doing it? So let's try this.
All right.
Let's talk about John Fetterman, guys. John Fetterman, in the greatest style of his wardrobe, is back in with shorts and sweatshirts. What do you think about that on the
I think it's
inauguration?
fine. I mean, we've had to explain to us why he does this, why he has to have it done. I mean, he's dealing with health issues, and I mean, also I can't. I have to. I am willing to give him a wide berth, wide space on this because he's definitely trying to be right, a conciliatory towards both, for both parties. I think that's an amazing act of
But
kindness.
but the way they introduced the I don't know what. Anyways, they had a wide shot of of the Capitol, and then you see this guy walking who looks homeless from a distance, and then they get a close up, and it's John
He's
Fetterman
like,
in a hoodie and shorts, and then they cut it to where he's coming into the Capitol, and he's just walking into the group, and he takes a seat.
yeah, I mean, it's just like, I mean, I swear to, and it was cold. I mean, they moved it into the rotunda
But
because
he's
it
it
was
was in
cold.
4
shorts.
And
degrees.
he's in shorts. I mean, but I know everybody knows somebody who walks around wearing a winter's coat and then wearing shorts. I mean, I went to college with a guy. A couple of people did that. So I mean, I think that they're
But, oh,
that's
there's a bunch
capable.
of people up in arms. No, man. This is what the kids are, or the younger generation. That and he's sort of part of that.
Yeah, yeah, I would say that resonates well. Let's face it, how many people you go to Walmart and see walking around in
Pajamas.
pajamas? I mean, it's like, and it's not that bad. I mean, we know what the condition is this man's dealing with, health conditions and stuff. And I mean, it's a miracle the man's still alive. I mean, remember initially he was like nobody heard from. He was incommunicado for months after taking office, and now he emerges and he's stronger than ever. And I mean, I can't say enough about the guy that I think. I mean, I'm respecting him at least. I mean, he could screw up. I mean, that's obvious. I mean, because he could be too much pressure on his party to come back along the lines that they want
But
him.
he's what their party should be.
Yeah, he represents that more. I really believe that. So
Hey, it works. John, there are rumors that John Fetterman might actually change over from a Democrat to Republican.
I don't
And
want.
I,
I
and I
want him to
think
stay a
I want to stay in
Democrat.
I want to stay in the Democrat. Yeah,
I
you
think
guys can do
it'd
that,
be
but
better. I think it would be better if he stayed where he is.
he
And
might just join the MAGA movement. That might be the whole thing. And you don't want to be a bad idea to
MAGA,
have
but like
Democrats.
me and John talked about yesterday, MAGA is not a party.
no,
It's people because there's people that voted for Trump that would never vote for another Republican.
yeah, that's
Oh
I.
God, no.
But another thing is too, look, you got people on like Elon Musk, who's now come on board with, he's going to be part of Trump's official or unofficial cabinet or whatever administration. And he was the darling a few years ago of the environmentalists because
Right.
he was producing the electric
And
vehicles.
Democrats. But
Yeah.
if you think about it, the six strongest people in the Republican Party now were former Democrats.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's a way. I mean, let's face it, it goes back to Reagan again. I mean, there's so many parallels between what we saw with Reagan, like we about the hostages now, being released in Israel, Palestine, and all that. We saw the same thing happen when Reagan took office with after Carter was booted out during the '70s. I mean, late '70s, early '80s. So there's a lot of parallels between Trump's era right now, the second presidency of Trump, and Ronald Reagan era. I mean,
But I think it's time to pull the stick out of their ass and Fetterman showing them how to do it.
right.
Yep.
And stop pretending all this pomp and circumstance like you're something special because you got a suit jacket on with the tie, so you can talk down to us.
Yeah, see, that's
Right.
that's what I've seen. I've always said that you get people like in a any setting. Once you start wearing a tie, it's like I'm better than you are. You dress deplorably. I mean, it's just arrogance that comes in. I mean, it's almost inescapable. I mean, I think it's the blood flow is being shut off to the brain with that damn tie on. I really do.
I
You could
never
take,
like ties anyway. So
you could wear a tie and you could be a nice person beforehand. You become a butthole. After that.
Man, anytime I had to put that uniform on, the dress blues where I had to wear the greens,
Right.
I couldn't wait to get that
Like,
uniform off.
My dad always said when he tied up the tie, he said he felt like he was hitched to a post and he couldn't move. He said, I can't do that. No, and actually, and he didn't like ties. That's the reason why he wanted to become a mail handler instead of running his family's business. He didn't want to wear a tie every day.
When you say manhandler, you mean a postman?
Mail handler,
or
yeah,
a
postal, yeah, postal
Just so
officer,
people know.
yeah,
Not-
mail handler, MAIL, not MALE. Yeah. So no, we'll put that to rest right quick.
all right. So yesterday, a lot happened. We celebrated Martin Luther King's birthday. We
Right.
celebrated uh, Trump coming in for inauguration. But a lot happened even before they got there. What do you think about the? Okay, let me ask you guys this question, and you guys tell me what do you guys think about the preemptive pardons that Biden did 15 minutes before and had it set up to go in right when
Okay.
Trump was getting
Me
inaugurated.
personally, I could give a crap about him doing it for his family, but when he did it for the whole J6 committee
Yeah.
and their staff, not just them and their staffers and the investigators that were harassing these people,
The whole group.
Look at what
all of them.
all their justification. We were only doing our job. Well, you know, and the guy who actually had you up to it, you probably are doing it on your own. You're party animals and you're part of the swamp, you know. So I don't really have any appreciation for you, or I wish you could face charges, but now that's been probably eliminated. But I think there's probably loopholes where they still can nail some people on. I really do, even with the pardon in place. I think they only cover certain much. I'd hope anyway. I don't want to see go
No.
scot free.
No, the
Well-
the pardon itself said for any type of crime these guys ever commit from now to the day they die, unless it's a violent crime.
It still needs to be investigated so it never happens again.
Well, the process, but Steve and I were talking about this yesterday, and I think that both of us have an agreement on that. We don't want to see Trump make his entire presidency about getting back at the people that screwed him over. Now he's got to have to go after somebody though. He's going to have to go after some people because the laws were violated. That cannot to go after him like they did. They didn't stick within the.
But going
framework.
after him for like the J6, that wasn't okay. So they went after him personally and his friends and family, but it also over 1,500 people,
Right. So I mean, they
civilians who had nothing to do with it. Other some of those people weren't even in Washington D.C. Like the head of the Proud Boys,
yeah.
he was at home.
See, that's ridiculous. That just shows something that runs parallel to what other countries face when they're for their political parties. They can put, they can go after family members. I mean, that's what's going to be. Even the mob for years kept, that sacrosanct. The family was not touchable. They could whack each other because they didn't. The rest of the people are considered civilians. You don't do that. Now our own government's going to look like some third party or third world, crap hole, in doing this.
Well, here's where I heard what you say about the family, but here's where I look at it as. In 2020, when he was on Joy Reid's show, Joe Biden says, "I will in our administration, you will never see a preemptive pardon."
And also the reason it came up is because they said that Trump was going to have preemptive pardons for his whole family.
goes back
Because
to
there was that whole soundbite of all of them saying Chuck Schumer was one of them, saying and Schiff, who got a
Yeah.
pardon, by the way, was one of them. Said that it's deplorable that anyone would do this. Joe Biden, like you said, there's a soundbite that said that he would never do it.
Yeah,
Right.
he said he said he was let his son be convicted and remain convicted of the crime he was convicted of, and now he blew that up. He kept no promises on my count. He has kept no promises he made during the entire time of his presidency.
Well, what it has done is it's actually tarnished, which is okay. It's tarnished the Democratic political brand because when Cory Booker today was on TV saying flat out, "Oh, look at what he did about the January 6th," people are, Trump giving a pardon to them and how bad that was. The lady says, "But what about this?"
Yeah.
And the other side is, you know what? I've always been wondering who they're going to actually nail it on, or who was the one responsible for the bad part of the Afghanistan getting out. And guess who gives a pardon to?
Yep.
Miley.
But what they did say, not Cory, but who's the head of who's the House Minority Whip? I mean,
Hakeem.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're going after him because he knew about President Biden's diminished capacity.
I mean,
Somebody needs to be held accountable for that.
I mean, anybody who watched him on television
Right.
and they knew about his
Right,
his
but there's
disability.
people close to him
Right.
that knew, and they need to investigate that. When did they know?
I just thought, this is right off the top of my head, but now we saw this person definitely impaired. Okay, there's supposed to be a process that they want to do in case that situation arises. There should be some way citizens can initiate it when they see it very apparent, like we all did. I mean, a lot of course, the left would be in denial, but the man couldn't even keep one. He couldn't keep a creative paragraph that was cohesive and coherent. I mean, serious. That was very apparent. I mean, they should have time out, guys. Let's get this guy examined. Let's hear the
Right.
examination. The results. I mean,
Well,
this guy was an idiot.
At the end of the day, we're not going to hear much. I don't think we'll ever hear much about Joe Biden until he
Oh, I
dies.
think we will.
You think so?
It's going to be investigated.
Oh, I think it'll be investigated, but I don't think we're going to hear from Joe Biden.
Oh, you mean as a person?
Yeah.
Mm,
I think he's done.
Oh, I think so.
no. Right now the Democrats are in chaos because they have no leadership.
Right.
Yeah, and
Unless you want to look at the Obamas.
And that I don't
Well,
think.
And to me, there is no Democratic Party anymore. I mean, they've been ruined.
Yeah,
Right.
They've been ruined. Just like the fake news, whatever you want to call them, legacy media. They're toast too.
well, look at they took out Bernie Sanders. They give him money to go away back when Clinton was running, Hillary was running. So they that one hope they had there, they've largely removed. He's too. I mean, he's way old now. He's older than Trump even. So I don't think he's gonna be able to keep it
Oh
together much
yeah,
longer.
that he was going off about
They're like,
federal minimum wage.
Yeah,
Nobody's getting paid $7 and something cents an hour
No.
unless they're a young kid.
it's just a guide. That's all it
There
is.
shouldn't be a minimum wage.
no, I don't. I think it's but basically, if let's face it, you got a business, and it's like if you couldn't offer somebody a business that keeping them up to entice them to come to your job every day,
You
their
lose
job
them.
every day, you lose them.
So
Right.
you there's a sweet spot or
Right.
where you have to have, I guess right now probably $12 or $13 an hour is what I would think that people would come in for, not and no less.
Another thing is too, like, well, let's examine the reason why there's supposed to be a perceived need for a minimum wage hike is because government likes to tax people.
Well, like everything, I think that minimum wage was a penalty, and big corporation lobbyists wanted it to happen so they could put small mom and pops out
Yep.
of business at the
Right.
time that they knew that at the time that $3 or $2.25 sounds like a lot now.
Right.
I think that was like the first minimum wage, wasn't it?
a
Well,
long time ago.
yeah, that's what I was.
But what I'm saying is today it'd probably be more like $14 or $15. But what I'm saying is I'm sure knowing what we know now about the scummy uh ancestral relationship between lobbyists, big corporations and everything, it was probably introduced to put some people out of business.
That's exactly what I mean. Other corporations know they could take that hit. They say they've pushed for it to get legislated. It's got to be the standard, and the other ones who are smaller and don't have the capacity to take that hit just fade. Just they dry up, or they get assimilated into the bigger ones that can afford it.
And what the bigger corporations do is just, okay, well, we're going to pay you this new minimum wage, and everybody's happy because they got a pay raise.
Right.
Now you can only work part time. We
Yeah,
can't afford to
20
pay you
hours.
full time anymore.
And no benefits, probably more
Yeah.
likely. And then another thing is too, like another thing is too, like based upon that, I've seen people work at Walmart, and I guess years ago, this is somebody tried to tell me it wasn't true, but I heard it was true. In some states, they actually had Walmart actually worked real connected to the social services, so their workers they'd make sure that as soon as a person got hired, they can get the paperwork done so they can get the benefits for being on through social services of that state. Well, if why don't you? I would say you should be able to. You should pay your people more so they don't have
But
to
they
depend
don't
on
have to.
state. Right.
I mean, they don't have to. They're a business. They're not in business to employ people.
But
They're in
they're
business to
to
make money.
But I don't think they should also work in the
Well, they
state.
don't
though.
work there.
Oh.
That's my opinion. If you don't like Walmart, then don't work there.
Well, that's true.
You
but
have
I mean-
you have a right as an employee to go anywhere you want to go.
right.
You can apply if they accept you and they want you to work there. Great.
But
And
what
you
I'm
know what? You don't have to stay at somewhere and get
No,
make
but-
so much.
But it's a good place to get your feet wet in the
Right.
job market to get something on paper for your resume while you're going to college or whatever.
McDonald's was never, ever, ever, ever designed to be
I mean,
a career job.
when we were going to McDonald's when we were younger, who was working there?
People-
16-year-olds and some
80-year-olds.
20-something-year-old manager at night.
Right. I mean,
Right.
it's exactly what it was. I mean, but unfortunately, I've known this one woman who actually worked at Taco Bell for 30 some years.
Yeah, but it wasn't designed. I mean, it
No,
wasn't
it wasn't
designed
designed.
across the board.
No.
It was designed so you could actually have a job. Like my first job was working in a hardware store. I wasn't going to stay there forever and ever and ever, but I learned to work at $7 an hour.
Right.
And that was kind of it.
If $7 an hour, see, my first job was actually passing out flyers, sales flyers for Ben Franklin. He used to be up here on Franklin, and we used to take them and drop them off at people's houses, and that was like $20 a night. And but I was like 12, 13 years old. That was good money for it. It was only 3 or 4 hours. I mean, it wasn't by the hour, but it was $20 for the night for 3 or 4 hours worth of work. But that's
That's not bad.
back then it was good money. For back in the late 70s, that was pretty good.
But like we said, that McDonald's was never meant to be
No,
a full, maybe for the managers.
not even for
They've always
Kamala.
promoted
Yeah,
that
they-
the managers can make money.
Not even
because
Kamala
it
got
was-
it for full time.
What'd you say?
Not even Kamala got it in lifetime.
Oh, that was so
But-
ridiculous. But I don't know if anybody's seen that. There, she actually had somebody go through and they photoshopped her face on some other girl's body and saying because I worked at McDonald's, they can't
Yeah,
even find proof she worked at
that whole
McDonald's.
thing was shameful.
That was horrible. I
Well,
mean,
Her whole campaign, it could be 101
that's
how
right.
not to run for a political office
that's just. I mean, it was. I mean,
and waste money and go bankrupt.
yeah, she won like what through $1 billion, wasn't it?
It
Towards
was a
Well,
lot
she
of
was
money.
over it, but she still spent more money than she had. And then people, the Democratic Party actually had to pay more money because of what she did. All right. So the next thing is Donald Trump gets elected, gets sworn in yesterday at 12 o'clock, and he makes an announcement, says, we are now in the golden state of America or golden ages of America. And he does a thing that no one else has ever done. He just starts signing executive orders in the middle of Capital One Arena, which is totally awesome. And then he sells one, and then withdrawing from the United States from the World Health Organization.
that's I applauded that. Uh-huh.
Well, he had a, but this is the second time he's done that,
Right.
Right.
and it was Biden who put us back in for $500 million a year,
Yeah.
and Trump's argument was China, who almost double, is it double our population? It's a lot.
Yeah.
Only pays $38 million a year.
Yeah.
Why are we paying $500 million? No dice.
Well,
And then they say, oh, you can come back for 3,400.
I
I
remember.
said no.
I remember years ago too. People, I mean, I had friends not friends, kids I went to school with were big into the Model UN, and I mean, I was always kind of raised around the periphery of the conspiracy people and the right wingers, and they hated the UN. My dad hated it because he went to Korea, and I'm there saying like, well, one time in the news they're saying like. United States, United Nations saying the United States is in arrears or what they owe the United Nation. What? Who the hell pays more than we do?
And where's your headquarters?
Yeah, where's your headquarters in New York
And
City?
who
In New York
pays for
City?
all of your security? Who pays for all of your housing? Who pays for everything like that?
Yeah, I
We
mean,
do.
yeah. So basically, the United Nations is the United States financially backed, and that's it. I mean, I don't see anybody else contributing. Even
I
the
think
more
you
industrialized
outgrow
nations.
things.
Right?
And I think we've outgrown the United Nations.
No, do you think, Odette? Would you like to see them have to be forced to take their
Let it
headquarters?
go to another country.
Yeah, I mean, I think they
And we
should.
can just be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, we still can send delegation down there. I mean, I think it causes a lot of issues. I mean, I know a lot of people depend on jobs there, but guess what? If you got a booming economy, you can get jobs in somewhere else. I mean, and
Well,
and AI is cutting into that. I remember a lot of people I heard were working in the United Nations were translators. Well, a lot of the AI is actually translating faster and stuff, and actually simultaneously, like some of these people were employed in. That's kind of go by the wayside too.
I think AI is probably better. You can trust it
Yeah,
more than you can trust a person.
because they're not going to try to nuance it or something. They're just going
right.
to put it straight forward. Yeah, it's not going to be a diplomatic, translation.
Well, talking about the AI and all that, one of the things is that Trump got a lot of flack because Bezos and Elon Musk was there, and the guy from BitDance was there, and a lot of the different Zuckerberg was there,
TikTok.
TikTok, all the guys. So here's the thing: is that they're like, oh my God, look at the oligarchs, look at all these other stuff. But I think it's there to show across the world, and I don't know what you guys believe, but isn't it more to show, look at we've got the intellectual heads at our inauguration
I think it's
versus what the world has. What do you think?
if I was somebody from another country and I saw all the people present for the big corporations that especially this kind of an artificial intelligence, and I'd say, they're the force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
And we have to recognize that.
But like Trump said, before we even have, okay, we can't just implement AI without upgrading our electrical grid
No,
Right.
because we're way behind in that. Because if you remember, they promised, what was it, in 1990, in 2000, when we had the brownouts all
Right.
over the United States.
Right.
It was 2000, wasn't it?
It
Yeah,
was,
Yep.
2001.
2001.
But I don't think they did anything to fix anything since then, and they knew that it was bad.
that's like and I know that for example, I know that consumers went through and put new gas lines in, which is part of
Gas lines aren't electric.
not electrical. But what they did though, here's the thing: is that when they did that, the guy who was installing it at my house, the new gas line, he said this is done by your tax dollars. That wasn't even done on consumers' money. That was done on our own
But
money.
it needs to be done
It needs
whether
to be
it's our
done, though.
tax money or not.
No, I know that we've been promised that we've been looking
Anything
at
the
that.
government does is our tax money.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Everything when they entice a corporation, say we're going to give you tax benefits. Well, that's even our money. That even is our money. Or we're not going to tax you more, which means we're going to pick up the slack. That's what it means.
But like I said, we don't have the electrical grid
No.
or the power for the AI the super AI that they want to have.
Well, now, would you like say with this is just off the top of my head. We could just ban it if you want. Would you think the best thing to do is maybe try to give an incentive for people to actually have solar panels on their house and stuff like that, so that maybe they can have some kind
Well,
of
it's just like
supplemental?
we're
Or,
finding out in the state of Michigan how stupid solar is
yeah,
because we're not a sunshine state.
no,
No.
I mean,
So I don't think for the state of Michigan that we should have solar to augment anything, and because it's useless in the wintertime. We don't have enough sun.
well, that's true because the University of Michigan had to move its observatory for the telescope.
Right.
They moved it years ago out to Arizona because we never had enough days to actually you make it worth their while to have the telescope on in Michigan. They had to move it out to Arizona, and of course now they got the computer uplinks and stuff like so they can
Right.
monitor minute by minute. But I mean, still, I mean, that's what we are unique because our cloud cover it changes rapidly because we're on the lakes. We're a peninsula. You got so many cloud cover covering from all the lakes. I mean,
And face it, we either have an awesome summer or a rainy, shitty summer.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like basic.
It's never the same every year.
No, it's like so. I don't know if solar is the effort. I mean, maybe small propeller, turbines on top of people's houses, small ones. That might be a possibility. Or tap it all the rivers and water bodies of water.
Or
we
just
have.
open up nuclear.
Well, yeah, we have what 1 or 2 plants that aren't active, right in Michigan, right?
I couldn't tell you.
Because I mean, it's like that would be the only thing is you got to make sure you got a secure border because now you got people who, if they don't and they got the waste, they can take grab hold of that, make a dirty
I
bomb
don't
and
think
stuff.
it's that easy.
No, it's not.
that easy to get in that, but you do have to run nuclear power.
Yeah.
You have to do it. All right, here's the deal. One of the things that Trump did do that made effect this weekend was I don't know if you saw on TikTok on the 19th it came out to the sign saying undo temporarily down
Yeah.
because of the law.
Yeah.
And
The
then
what?
No, TikTok being
TikTok
down.
came out
Oh,
and said, no, I think
but
it
it
was
was just crazy how
Then it-
fast it went down, and it was all different when it came back to
Right.
me.
and I'll thank Trump for it, actually trying to work with people.
Well,
Now
I
Trump
thank
came up-
the Supreme Court because they're the ones that left it up to the president.
Now here's the best part about it. Trump actually's got his viewpoint. I don't know what your viewpoint is about it, but about how do you take TikTok and put it as a joint venture where America actually watches over it, looks at it and everything, and also gets 50% of the profit, which would be over
I
$500
think
billion.
when he was saying that, he wasn't meaning that the 50% of the profit goes to the United States government. It would go to the people who purchased it. And
Invested
he would
it.
rather he would rather have American
Right.
investors
Yeah.
Get the money.
have that money
Right.
coming back to them. Because what he said was, if he doesn't save TikTok, it's worth nothing.
Right.
And if he saves TikTok, it's worth or was it $1 trillion?
That's
Or a
good.
trillion
Or was it
dollars.
2? But anyways, what he said is that he wants American investors to own it,
Right.
own half of it.
I think that's
But
best.
what I didn't like is when he started saying, "Then we can police it."
Yeah, see, I don't like that part because
No, we don't need government government only screws shit up when it gets involved in it.
and it's got an agenda anyway. And so I mean,
Look at our roads.
right.
Well, look at the one they say. Lord Drake can always say. The one words you never want to hear is "I'm from the government
And I'm here to help.
Yeah, I
But
just
Rand Paul actually did jump on to Rand Paul jumped on. I'm not sure if you saw this or not, but he jumped on TikTok for the first time.
Just before it went down, he got an account.
He got an account, and then when it came back open, he started talking about it. What do you think about Rand Paul actually talking about the things about TikTok?
I mean, I like Rand Paul. I mean, I liked his dad better. But I think
But-
that's a good thing. I mean,
But
but
he chases windmills, as far as I'm concerned. A lot of the things he does are for naught.
yeah, they don't bring about. Yeah, they have the impact.
I'm the only one voting against this bill. Well, good for you there.
Well, the thing is, we eventually speak up enough. Maybe somebody will say, "Why are you doing this?" I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's too hopeful of a thing. I don't know. At least you got one vote against it. I mean, just to go along to get along.
Well-
I think that's not good either.
He came back on today and said, "Listen, what you need to do is call your congressman and talk to your congressman and get a real reason why they went against the TikTok." And see what it is.
Unfortunately, our congressmen
What does not lie to you?
are
But
not going to help.
No, because I mean, well, let's face it. It's apparent they're saying it's a security risk. What security risk? What information does
That's
the
what
average
Trump
person
said.
have?
He said, "Where's your phone made?
Right.
Your phone is made in China."
Right.
Or however he says it. Parts of this phone are made in China. Nobody's going after the phone makers, and they're not worried about security of the phone. He just rattled a whole bunch of things that were made in China. Why aren't they going after them?
Well, another thing is too, some guy, I don't know if you saw the thing on TikTok or it was TikTok or Instagram. This guy said all these components for like a electrical grid and stuff like that were made in China. They come in there and they had independent people check them, and there's ways of shutting that down remotely. They could hook up through that system and shut them down. These transformers and other things are connected to the electrical grid. They can do they already built into the equipment. So I mean, okay, we're bringing this stuff in. If you really want to be so concerned about security, insist that every piece of technology, this stuff you and I have or whatever, every day, every piece of it is made here, so we
Well,
can make
think
sure it's
about
not
it. That phone only costs like $15, $15 or $20
right.
to make,
So if they brought
and
it,
they want to sell it to you for 1,500.
say so
So
you they
they're
br-
making crazy money off those
Right.
phones.
so they bring it in here and say now it costs the manufacturers to make
So why not
50
just
bucks,
force them?
100 bucks.
Why not just force them to make it in this country,
That's what I'm saying.
and then really have to pay $1,500 for it?
Yeah, I mean, that way you're at least that's hopefully it's got the technology that's not going to be sniffing up your bum and
But what I'm trying
handing
to
it
say is
over.
you're paying for a phone. You're paying for something like it's made here.
Right.
It's not.
So why not make it here and then force them to suck up some of their profits by making it here?
Right, exactly. I mean, pay out the workforce. I mean, you're getting so much easier. I mean, so much over everybody else over in that other country because you're getting them maybe $1 an hour to do this. Now you got a maid here. You got a maid here. Yeah, we're paying about the same price. We can just pay
We
the
probably
same
are
price.
paying the same
Yeah.
price that it would cost to have that phone made here.
Right, and eventually you're gonna have companies bickering and wanting you to compete, and that price would drop like everything else does.
Eventually.
Yeah, eventually their prices would drop. I mean, and you'd have people working that actually say, "So what? I paid for a $1,500 phone. I pay work for
I
it."
was paying $1,500
anyway.
before. Why? And what's the big deal? They wouldn't even notice anything.
I
What
don't
they can do? Double it?
I don't understand two people say, well, like, I don't like tariffs and customs. I don't. Okay, in theory, I don't like it, but there is nothing that
Why don't
we don't
you
get
like
taxed.
it? Who
Yeah,
are
why
you?
don't you like
Why
having
don't you
tariffs on
like
other
it?
people?
The only thing I don't like about it because I would like to have the government would not have to have so much a big cut of our anything from us. That's what I'm saying. That I think
Okay, but if we didn't have a tax, if we didn't
Yeah,
have to
the
pay
tax
taxes,
system?
then you wouldn't care.
no, I wouldn't care. Yeah, exactly. We're paying for tax. I mean, let's face it. Why are we paying a tax on something which is essential? A phone is essential. Why are we paying a tax to have it? This is stupid. Look at your bill each
Tax,
month. How many?
and you not only have federal taxes, you have county, state,
City.
and local taxes on that phone. I think City of Flint gets
Every
some of
week.
your money every month.
So you have for the 911 service, I mean, which I like, but I mean, if we had no taxes and then that chunk was just taken, you pay that, then it would be a lot less. So you know exactly where the money's going to. Where the hell's all this money going to? There's no accountability for where the money's
It's
going.
going to lock up January 6ers.
Right. Or to other countries. I never understood. Years ago, when other countries are conquered by other countries, they allowed them to have a token government in place, to make you feel better. You'd have to pay tribute. What we pay tribute to how many countries? How many times have we been conquered? Because we're paying tribute to people, and that's exactly what it is. Because we don't get anything out of it.
Well, that was one of his things that he signed to halt all. He's halting all foreign
Right.
money,
Right.
going to countries until they can figure out what's what.
Yeah, because I mean, Ukraine, Oh, did you hear? Okay, I don't know if you heard this. During the fires there in LA, right?
Mhm.
There was allegedly 8 mansions burned up that belonged to Zelensky's cabinet, members of his cabinet. What the hell are they buying? Why they got multi-million-dollar mansions? No, multi-million-dollar mansions in LA.
Because they had to do something with the money we're giving them.
Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. I
I'm
mean,
just curious if he even made Ukraine before he came back here and bought those mansions.
yeah, it's like, yeah. I mean, did they just directly route it to some real estate?
Listen,
Real estate?
Trump put one thing out that's really taken off a lot of people. And you can tell one thing about people. If they hate Trump or they hate the MAGA movement, they really hate the country.
Hmm.
In all honesty, where they find the patriotism finds more of the MAGA movement than anything else. And it's not like we talked about before, it's not Republican, Democrat. Yesterday, Donald Trump came out and said it's time to unleash American energy. In fact, he's the first president ever got up there on inauguration and actually said drill baby drill.
Right.
Now, what do you think about that? I think he in front of all the
I
different
mean,
presidents, he
but
basically
for the
stood
most
up.
part, it would be just going pre-Biden back
Right.
to what we were doing.
Right.
I mean, it's not
But
even.
do you feel any different?
I
from
feel
the
love.
time?
Yeah.
I think yeah, it's one less thing. I don't think we're going to go to war tomorrow. I
No.
don't think we're going to have a third world war anymore.
Well, let's face it. I mean, they already said that he's done in a few hours what Biden couldn't do in the past. For getting the hostage release in Palestine, Israel, he did more in a few days than Biden was able to do in almost over a year.
It's a
Biden's
warp speed.
administration.
It's
Huh?
warp speed. He feels everything in warp speed, and everybody else is trying to play catch up, and they're trying to cut everything down. What I got a little ticked off last night was Jimmy Fallon, who wears a hat like Melania Trump. You know what? We finally got class back in the White House with a first lady.
Right.
Would you shut the hell up? Can
Jim,
somebody tell Jimmy Fallon and all these guys they don't mean jack shit?
But they love Dr. Jill, don't you know?
Dr. Jill.
Oh
Well,
my
yeah,
God.
how much? And actually, Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, that
thought
was so stupid.
She thought that she was a real doctor.
She's a great doctor, wonderful doctor.
And she should be the Surgeon General.
And that's like,
And they
She's a
said,
freaking
you
doctor of
know,
English.
you do know that she's got an English degree.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And that's what we talked about before. If you can't practice your art, if you can't practice your doctrine in real life to help people, if you're not helping people, you're not a doctor.
Well, Mr. Moss, the guy who doesn't know what's going on here, he could use the doctor degree, the doctorate, label, and he refuses. He said, I don't practice medicine. He's a matter of fact, he said people who don't practice doctors who are actually doctors who no longer practice medicine. He said things we should relinquish the DR after the name. He said you're no longer practicing. So,
Talking about people cutting the Trumps down. Today there was a prayer Bible study,
yeah,
at the National Cathedral, and they had, I want to say she was an Episcopalian bishop,
yeah, I saw that.
and one of the things we were talking about before we got in here, she
made a political statement rather than a prayer.
yeah, and she was like, God wants me to, and it's not God. And it's about how, there's a lot of people who are LGBTQ and all this other stuff who are waking up afraid and all this other stuff. Here's the thing that I've known.
And nobody's against these people.
No.
It's just that she chose to make a political statement instead of what she was up there.
It was supposed to be. Yeah.
You never use a pulpit to attack a person.
Especially if you're invited there for that person.
Yeah, and whoever invited her should have been shot. She's an idiot. And the other side is, you know what? Donald Trump, in one of his things, all he did was a sign that said there are two sexes in this country. There's a male and there's a female.
It's a law now.
Yeah.
He made a law.
Okay.
Yeah. Government will only identify you either a male or female, and he called it gender truth, didn't he?
Yeah. And so here's the thing. I think I wanted to know your guys' opinion on that when I was listening to it yesterday. I thought this is finally good. Someone's finally standing up about all this stuff. What was your guys' viewpoint about it?
Oh, I was thrilled when I heard that. And another thing I heard too, that on the job applications, resumes and stuff, he wants to have the remove like the race and ethnicity thing, the boxes removed.
They should be.
They should
Yeah.
be.
I mean, you're applying for a job.
Who cares if you're white?
What difference does it make if you're white or black?
But that's what they always want.
And why should they keep track of that crap anyway? All it is to use on the news only. It's stupid.
The government's always made us do it
When
in hiring.
When the 70s, my mom was a scout leader here, down here at the school, and they had paperwork from the Scout BSA, Cub Scout organization, and they want to know how many boys we had from this ethnic group, this racial group, this ethnic group. My mom said, they're all boys. Why does this matter? We're not political. This is like they're learning how to do outdoors and crafts and stuff like that. Why do you have to bring that into that? And so she refused
like
to
I
fill it out.
said, it's a Republican president that started this BS. It started with Richard Nixon.
Yeah. The affirmative action, and a lot of people said,
well, not the affirmative, the races.
Right. Yeah, it did start. I mean, they said we want to focus on race. We want to focus on race. Now they're saying we don't want to focus on race, but still want to. They're sending mixed signals. That's what it shouldn't be focused. I mean, here's your qualifications. Here's your name. Here's your social security number. Okay, we'll give you a call, see if you get you an interview. Okay, I'm obviously going to find out what the race of the person is when you show up for the interview. I don't understand why they have to have it on the application. How many
employers do you think now look and see, or even care? They want a warm body that can pass a drug test.
I think the last 4 years
can speak.
I think the last 4 years it was a lot more inherent than it was before.
What?
Because of the DEI. Now because DEI is dead, I don't think so.
Yeah, and that's rapidly.
I'm not talking about corporations. I'm talking about regular people.
I don't give a crap on an app.
I'm not talking about. Yeah, the corporations are probably doing it because they were getting a kickback from the government for being
incentivized,
for having a certain amount of a race, above average of the rest of the industry,
which has gone
got money. But what I'm saying is, people like yourself,
No,
all you want is a warm body that can speak coherently, show up to work, and do what they're supposed to do, and not argue with their coworkers.
right. And if they can flunk a snowflake test, that's all I care about.
I don't know what that is.
Is
What's this
all
one?
the different things that stress you out. If you answer 10 out of 10,
Yeah, you're not gonna be
Oh,
hired.
then I'm not hiring you because you're a snowflake.
Yeah,
One of the things is that no, honestly, DEI is gone as
yeah,
of yesterday, which is good.
yeah. A lot of agents, a lot of companies are folding up or closing up their offices. I've been reading anyway. I haven't experienced that personally, but I think it's. I mean, it was too long as it was. I mean, it wasn't that long, but it was already there too long, in my opinion.
Well, now, one of the things that Trump did, and I want to get your opinion, Steve, was securing the border, but then he also turned around and he actually designated, and John kick in after this, but he designated the cartels as a terrorist, a foreign terrorist,
They are.
which is true. What did you think when you saw that executive order go out?
It's common sense.
That's yeah.
I mean, being in the military doesn't mean it. I mean, if you're in the military and he tells you, I don't know what you want me to say.
No, I mean,
I'm
to me, it
confused.
was common sense. You did say that the common sense is back in the White House, but this whole thing is that no one's ever done this. None of the Republicans have ever said, "Hey, you know what? That's a foreign
Well, because
terrorist in origin."
he can treat them differently now,
Right, 'cause
and
he
he
gets in
can
the
go
military.
now. He can go and if they want to say we're invading, well, he can send the troops across the border to go after them.
I think it's a smart move. What do you think?
I do too, because I mean, this was years ago, and this is even before the Biden administration. But I remember hearing about places in Arizona, parks, state parks of Arizona, that people could not go into because these cartels have already taken root in there, and they controlled state parks, and that's ridiculous. And if we're going to use the military all over the world to what they call saber rattling for everybody else, where it's military is designed to protect your borders.
Well, I mean, it's not only that. I mean, now I'm talking like you. That that we had the Latin Kings,
Right.
not so much. They're more around Detroit,
Uh,
and then what's the other one? We have two
We had the Cobras here.
the Cobras
Right.
that are active in the state of Michigan that people don't even think about because they're not the kind of gangs that go after one another. They're just here to make money.
right.
Yeah, see, and the gangs are. I mean, let's face it. I mean, I don't see how that could be overlooked or it's considered racist or xenophobic when you got people from the outside doing something that's weak. Everybody would be considered if they're doing legal, even if they're citizens, to do these activities, drug sales, human trafficking, maybe whatever. Those are illegal regardless who's doing
But
them.
there was just a bust last night in Michigan of human trafficking
Right.
by illegals were picked up in the sting.
I mean, it just may. I mean, let's face it. When they're bringing people, let's face it. They can bring people from other countries. They're their own people, okay, and they're exploiting their own people. They're maybe their own family members.
Right.
I don't see how that can be overlooked. I mean, it's not a racial issue. It's like this is horrific, and you're allowing it to happen because you saying if we go
But-
against it, that's
But
racist.
one thing that I did like that he signed was to take men out of women's sports.
Yes.
Well, that's ridiculous.
That's been needed for a long time.
Well, that should have been common sense a long time ago. You don't do that to little.
I never understood a dad ever allowing that to happen in their school.
I don't
just
think
understand.
a lot of well, part of the reason is because it's few and far between. It doesn't happen
Right.
that often
But if it did, it would.
in life that you come across a transgender wanting to play a game.
Right. And it's like, it's another thing is I had an incident where I knew this incident. This guy was he was a athlete in high school and stuff like that. And then after high school, he suffered some kind of closed head injury. And now he was playing in the Special Olympics, which I mean, he had he had like psychological problems, but they allowed him to be part. And it was unfair for the rest of the people.
No, it's not. There's some bohemians in the Special Olympics. You look at
Do you think that was
some-
okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's some I don't want killers.
Yeah.
No, I mean that
They're
are
good.
really good in the Special Olympics.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know what to say because I didn't. It was brought to me, and I was like, I never pursued talking to somebody's family member who maybe been in the Special
And it
Olympics.
probably did something good for him too.
Yeah,
about
maybe.
winning and going and being part of something. No, I wouldn't take that away from him.
But I mean, like I said, I don't know. So if she's somebody who knows out there who has a family member who
I mean, they
participates,
don't. I don't think the Special Olympics competes like. I don't know how they give their awards and their medals.
yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I just thought it was peculiar. I didn't
We'll
go off
figure
on
it
it.
out.
I think
Yeah,
it was a good thing. I mean, probably helped them
it might. I don't know.
mentally. to be there
Right.
playing and part of something that maybe it was one of the few things that he could do well.
Like I said, he was a well-known athlete in high school. So I mean, he was like, he excelled at that level back then, and he could function most of the time he functioned in a normal within you couldn't tell apart really if you saw him
Right.
outside. Out in public, you wouldn't see him as being unique or peculiar or anything. So I don't know. I just if somebody knows of that situation and experience,
Unlike you for being unique and peculiar for other reasons.
right. Yeah,
All
well,
right, so guess how that troll that how are. Can we talk about the one where they're actually signed the thing about sending the people back to the offices? That was a good one.
back
I
to
mean, back to work.
back
Yeah.
to yeah,
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
I mean everybody else. I'm sure for the most part. I mean, I'm sure there's some businesses that probably did better by having remote workers. That means that they don't have to have a
And they'll
building.
still do it.
But the
But for the
stupid thing
federal
about government, they still got a janitorial crew, because they're union, so you
Right.
can't. They had to keep their jobs cleaning and you probably got IT and everything, whatever it goes to keep an office running. They probably got computers and everything, and then doing software upgrades, and all these people are at home.
yeah. See, I think there's actually benefit though. I mean, to actually keeping people
But
remote workers.
but yeah, in private life,
Right.
But government's stupid.
Yeah. See, I was gonna say because I know that I just think of this way: a security issue. If you got some center known for being like sensitive information, that's a red flag to anybody out from the outside that this is where we can hit this facility. But now they're spread out through the population.
But part of the reason they did that is because they know a lot of these people will quit rather than because they want to
Shrink down the
shrink down the job force in the government.
when I used to go down to the VA office in Detroit, this was 25, 30 years ago. When I went down there, everybody was just packed everywhere in offices and everything. When I went down there last week, there was one person probably in the whole office, maybe 5 people in the
I
whole
don't know.
office.
I don't know why you just don't go to the
You have to go to the VA one, but here's the thing:
for what?
drop off all your paperwork.
Why don't you, they can do it for you.
They have to, yeah.
They can fax it. They don't even have to mail it. They can
But
put
when
it
I
in
was
the
trying to
fax
get over
machine.
myself, I was working on.
I'm talking about DAV.
Yeah. But when I went from the DV office, right, and I went and got the thing, I didn't tell you this. I called them, went all through this whole thing, and guess what I found out? That paperwork that they had from the Department of Defense for the Navy only goes back 5 years. This is 30 years. They don't know who even submitted this. So somebody submitted, but they can't tell me who it is. So going back to work would be a kind of cool thing because now you have all these different phone trees you have to go through, and that's a pain in the ass. The other side of this is I don't know. We need to put a hiring freeze on, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
What about birthright citizenship?
That has been getting sued. I guess 12 states now have sued over that one now in the
Oh.
last 24 hours.
That's what they want, though. That was the whole reason he signed the
Right.
executive orders because it's never went to the Supreme Court.
Right.
So it's be like a test case, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense. I mean, that's a great way to test. It's a litmus test. I mean, that's the best test if you can stand, that kind of smell test or that muster, impasse muster or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I just don't think it's fair that anchor babies. I don't think that's right. I mean, and that's a lot of people have been doing that for years, and Texas and Florida, California. I don't think that's good.
Yeah, but just because the child is a citizen doesn't mean that the parents can stay.
The way you explained to me
And
is
what
like
they said is they'll send the child with the parents, and then the kid can
come back
if he wants
and
to.
file paperwork to get
Right.
it for self, and also try to bring his family up. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, but they have to wait
Right. So yeah.
a long time.
Well, but till they're 17, 18. Yeah.
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 But what I'm saying is that doesn't mean just because you have a kid here doesn't mean you can stay here.
Yeah. I don't like that. I mean, I don't like it because I mean, it's not fair. It's not fair to, I mean,
It's
don't
not fair to the people going through the
it's
system.
right. Exactly. I mean, it's like,
Because if you're here illegally and you have a kid
Now you become illegal.
and now your kid's legal but you're not,
And we can't send your kid by himself. So
yeah, I mean, another thing is too, I mean, I wonder how
you
many
can't
other,
go to another country and do that.
you can't, well, somebody just posted on Instagram, they overstayed their, visa down in Mexico and they got rounded up. They got to they stayed a month beyond their visa. They
Right.
stayed away from the government officials, but they got deported back to the United States. It's like, well, if I can't do it in Mexico, why are we allowing people to do this for years here?
because everyone takes advantage of America because we never had a backbone until now, until Reagan.
No,
until
because
now.
we let corporations run us.
Well, I
And
also-
because they need cheap labor. And at the time, early on, they were taking you've seen
Yeah.
the movies where they were taking advantage of people.
Yeah.
They want pit people
Having a
against people.
company store and everything. The people would go to that store and get things during the week, and when it come time to get their paycheck, they take their money off the top and then end up with nothing.
Right.
Yeah, that's what the corporations. Both parties are okay with illegal immigration because the Republicans are sided up with the corporations, and then the Democrats are happy because now they got a voting bloc made of minorities that they actually say you
But
got to go
like
to.
we talked about, that didn't work with them. It didn't work out that the
This
way
way.
that they thought it would in Florida.
Right.
Yeah,
The people that they thought they were bringing in here and helping voted Republican.
it's like because the values. It's most South and
And
Central American
and
people are
it's like
conservative.
we talked about it before. You can, they take advantage of the system and they come here. Doesn't mean that they're gonna become
You're voting away.
scumbags
Right.
and Democrats.
So notice how we add that together. Yeah, but it's true. I mean, yeah, you can't expect just because you help them come in, they're going to be loyal to you. I mean, they're going to vote for they're going to go vote along according to their own conscience.
But
and
he
own
also
values.
sent flights back that were on their way here
Yep.
with I don't know what's the word,
The CP, the one that
the one that Biden was
Right.
flying all this people. He had them turn around and he canceled a lot of flights
Yep.
into the United States.
Let's say it's well, the people say, well, white people are afraid of total replacement. Well, I think any country, if a bunch of people from another country showed up at their doorstep and saying, "I'm your neighbor now," I think they'd be putting their foot down too.
But don't you think that they should investigate what is the Catholic services and also the Jewish, I forget what theirs
Um,
is, that are helping these people come to the United States illegally.
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like,
The NGOs, is that what they're
Right.
called?
yeah.
They should be investigated.
They should.
I mean, there's a lot of money, and I know that there's a lot of money
We give
transferred
all
to
that
different
money to
states.
Catholic charities, and it just goes across. It goes across overseas back to the church.
The church, yeah, I mean,
And then they bring them back through because it's
Why does government have to? Why is the government doing it? Why do they need these Catholic service? Because why? Why did they need a third party?
yeah, I mean, it's another thing is where the money is coming from the people of the United States. Was always people whine about separation of church and state when it comes to moral issues, but financial issues are fine with these more liberal leaning organizations being headed up by the Catholic organizations. And, taking their money from the taxpayers because that is taxpayers' money. I used to work in the social work area, and I know quite a bit about it. And that was getting federal funds back in the late '80s. At least I knew it was. I don't know if that's changed. So anybody's listening can tell me that's been altered or not. Let me know. But I mean, I know they're getting federal funds. Matter of fact, Blanchard, when he was the governor, the woman he put in for social services at that point was a nun who eventually, of an order, and she actually ended up leaving that order because she got involved in politics heavily. But she was from Catholic Social Services. So I mean, or the other organization, well, it's one of the Catholic organizations. So she was a nun. She had been a nun. So
I do like number 29 where it says that, we're actually going to be holding government officials accountable for election interference and all the different problems and the proper disclosures of sensitive information. You know, doing this and this is the biggest part about it. I think that we need to start having accountability for these officials. And there's been none. And what I don't like about that part and that Adam Schiff got is he can still create more and more crimes and he doesn't have to worry about it.
yeah, because he's already got a pardon for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's the only one in the Senate right now who's got a pardon.
he's got like the license to kill.
really does.
Basically does. I mean, I'm being dramatic, and I've
I
obviously
don't think it includes murder.
Well, I don't. I'm
No,
just
no, no,
joking.
not
No,
murder.
I'm just
No.
no.
But he can break any law you want to as long as it's not violent.
I was joking on that. No, but I mean, basically, well, kill a political career. I
But
mean,
what do you think about renaming the Gulf of Mexico? I think that's
that was
America.
that.
That's right.
Joel, you found out. You know why, right? Because he wants that because they put a ban on drilling in the Gulf of
Right.
Mexico. And you renaming it invalidates that.
I don't know that it does, but that'd be cool if it did.
That's what one guy said. He goes because he said that one guy was on Instagram and TikTok. I think it was he had two different. He said, yeah, he's the reason with the move smart because they said they prohibit drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. Now he renames it. It's not named in the legal
What
document.
about McKinley being renamed back? What did he name it? Delani or something?
Denali wasn't
Denali.
Denali. It's been Denali before Biden took office. I've heard of that way, but
It was
McKinley.
Obama that renamed it.
right.
Right.
Obama did. Yeah.
But Trump just named it back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Well, I have to change the textbooks, I guess. I don't know.
And also, what about like Fort Bragg's gonna? It was Fort Liberty that's gonna go back
To Fort Bragg.
back to Fort Bragg, and Fort Hood's gonna be Fort Hood. And
Right.
Well, it's like,
I think what he's doing is basically taking a big old eraser and just erasing all
well, it was
stupidity for the
stupid that
last.
they. Why would you waste money changing? Because it costs a lot of money to change those names.
well, yeah, well, years ago, back in the 80s, they changed Lewis Street, which, they changed it to, Chavez, Cesar Chavez, they
Yeah.
named it after the labor leader. And that was like affected only a handful of businesses, but they estimated that was like $50 to $100,000 just for a few businesses around a couple of miles stretch of a road. I mean, so could you imagine how all the name changes and all that stuff's going to affect something much larger?
Well,
Like,
here's what you have to look at. There's a lot more costs than you ever know. You have to change the logos. You got to change everything.
Well,
for
the good
Fort
thing
Bragg.
about it, I'm sure they still
go
have all
back,
the
yeah.
Fort Bragg stuff anyways.
no,
They
was
didn't do stupid and get rid of it.
no Fort Bragg was named after, it was a Confederate general, or
Well, what they did, okay, what it was supposed to do is bring the country back together
After
by,
the Civil War.
like Longstreet,
right?
Bragg,
Right.
Hood, naming all these things to make to bring closure, or you know how the government
Right.
thinks.
It's like, well, another thing is too, though, if
Or
you're going to
don't
do
they?
that, wouldn't you have done it? Okay, why weren't the people who were immediately affected by that generation, like my great grandfather,
They
okay,
were okay with
they're
it.
okay with it? I mean, and they were the ones fought against each other. I mean, they didn't have. I didn't.
No, but you got these. Come on, man! You got somebody who's never affected by slavery that will cheer up and cry at the drop of the hat. Then you go back and look at their lineage, and
They own slaves
they're from another country
Yeah, there's,
altogether.
yeah. I mean, it's a,
just because they're black. I think people are all that stuff is played out. People are sick of transgenderism. They're sick of people um, having to pay reparations. They're sick of all that stuff. They're
Well,
done with it. The he, she, him, them, it, Z stuff. They're done with that too.
what's
He's done with all the stupidity, and that's been the whole thing. It's all been stupid.
No,
And
we
people have
just
had
need
enough
to
of
be a
it.
grown up.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like they want to have the right to emote for something like channeling their ancestral rage. I mean, everybody sitting right here has had ancestors who were really hosed by other people, screwed over, enslaved, beaten, thrown over to the four winds. The Scottish people had their islands were forcibly cleared by the English, so they had hunting estates. They're thrown out to the winds and they're taken all over and put to different places like the Caribbean islands and stuff like that, forced off their lands and places they had to places they had no connection to. But nobody talks about
But
that.
I think Trump
Because we
being
don't care.
Trump being in office is giving people permission to speak their mind again.
Yeah,
And not who cares about the consequences?
well, Justine Bateman, from Family Ties, she said she was glad when Trump got elected because now you can start talking freely. And she was, she's from the
I
left.
mean, it's stupid. I mean, I don't have crazy thoughts. I mean, I do have crazy thoughts, but I don't want to share them. I didn't want to share them before. I'm not going to share them now, but I could if I wanted to.
Yeah, because now we
What's
now
like,
we got a
Now I can. No,
we have a
yeah.
platform now. We
platform.
can do it.
well, the left would always say, well, you have a right to say what you want, but you're not free of the consequences. Well, no, but that's fine. But you're trying to create consequences where it will probably just fell on deaf ears and moved on.
For
You
me,
want them enhance that.
for
You
me-
created a consequence before a person even said
Right.
something.
For me, it ended when I seen a black student go after a white kid because he was in their area at the wrong time of day, and he was going, "I pay for this college too."
Oh, I remember that.
And she was saying something, about culture appropriation. He said, "I have culture too." She said, "No, you don't. You're white."
Yeah, see, it's like, okay, the very
No, we built the country.
Yeah, it's like, well, up to U of M. They were saying, when back before I left, this was like in, 2000, 2001 when I left the campus there. They had this place that used to be a music listening room. You just went in there, you put they give you a pair of headphones, you go listen, you can play any songs you want to, at radio stations. They transformed it into a cultural center. You know what the cultural consist of? Having their own television set. Because they said they didn't like when they had open areas where they had people, video monitors set up, so people watching different TV shows, cable and all that. They thought that they weren't welcome watching what they wanted to watch. So their cultural lounge just had a big screen TV in there. That was their major
Are
cultural.
you talking about the black culture?
Yeah, the black students and the black
Really?
students primarily. It wasn't the Asians. They weren't. I didn't see Asians there. I mean, we only had a handful of Asian students there, and they were just going back and forth like anybody else was. But
But like I said, I just think those days are over.
I would hope.
that people can stand up for themselves and just say, "I had enough."
You didn't see a lot of people sitting there screaming and crying like they did the first time.
No, because no, lots different this time around. People that accepted, even other black people are sick of the bullshit.
You know that woman they always the short-haired woman they showed off
Joy
screaming
Reid.
for everything, huh?
Joy Reid.
No. I mean, no. I'm talking about the woman who's always showing on. She's a meme on Facebook. She's
Oh.
got short hair and she's screaming, and they got
Yeah.
that captured. I wonder what she feels like. I wonder if she, for one thing, let her hair grow out so she's not so
Oh,
easy. to
didn't she have a
recognize.
ball cap on?
Yeah, I
Are you
think
talking
so.
about the woman with the ball cap, glasses, and the
Yellow
reflective
shirt.
vest?
Yeah.
Yeah, she had a ball cap. I mean, a stocking
Beanie.
cap.
She had stocking.
Yeah, it looked like. Well, I thought it was short hair, but I mean, all the she was like screaming.
She
I
was
wonder.
ugly.
Yeah.
She was ugly.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that, but I mean, I'll just say I wonder what she feels about it now. I mean, I
I
wonder.
always thought that was a man.
At first, I thought
It's
it was
a
a man. You
woman?
gotta watch it. Yeah, it was a woman.
It was a
Oh,
woman.
okay.
Yeah, I'm
Like
pretty.
I said, I always thought it was a man.
Well, I saw a video one time
Well,
screaming.
I think thinking it's a man makes it funnier.
Yeah, no, but it's like if there's one place that before all this transgender stuff, there's a store down the street from here. It's no longer there. There was a person working there, and I went there for 2 years. And the person's name it was one of those unisex names, and didn't give it away. For 2 years I was perplexed about that until one day my friend and I walked in there, and he addressed the person, and he had grew up with this guy, and I said, "This it was a guy," and I didn't know this for 2 years. I mean, and I didn't want to say anything because this guy he was very androgynous looking, I guess you would. And I felt bad, but
But I mean, just don't get me wrong. If I see a person in a dress or whatever that doesn't look like I'm not going to go
Talking.
point them out and laugh at them or anything. Let them live their best life.
I'm very live and let live. I mean, yeah, I mean, I've seen people cross-dresser back in the
They got
70s.
enough problems.
Yeah.
They don't need some old white guy coming up and say, "Are you a man or a woman?" They don't need that shit. If you don't know, it's none of your business.
Well, one time my friends and I were at a party store up here off of East Court Street, and we're sitting there, staying there up by the magazine rack. One of our friends went through to get a pop, and this person coming through the building was obviously a man. He had a wig on, I mean, but it had a 5 o'clock shadow. So it's walking up and it buys something. The person walks up and buys something, and grabs something off the cooler and comes back around. Somehow they got ahead of our friend in line. And my friend's sitting there looking around like this, and he's standing beside this person, and he kind of look at him, kind of puzzled and stuff like that. Well, that person, the cross-dresser or whatever, makes their purchase, walks out, and the other guy walks up to me and my other friend and goes, "That chick, man, she needed a shave. She had a 5 o'clock shadow."
But at the same time, like I said, I'm not going to go out of my way to embarrass anybody,
No.
especially myself, because
It's let people live and do what they want to do. But
what if
don't
it does
force down
turn
our
out to
throat.
be actual woman that just has that?
Yeah,
I don't know what that's called when.
That hormone.
it's like a I don't know. It's a genetic abnormality, but
I mean, it's just like my dad wishing. I just remember he wished a woman well with her pregnancy, and she said, "I'm not pregnant, you old son of a bitch. I'm just fat."
Oh my God.
Well, I had a friend working at a restaurant. He wanted to bring all these people over to his house to have a party. He's talking, "Yeah, you got to show up, got to show up." He goes, "Yeah, you can even bring your baby." He points to the woman. She goes, "I'm not pregnant." And he was just,
No, I mean, just mind your own business. I don't talk to. You both say
Yeah.
that when you go out, you talk to people. I know you talk to
Yeah.
people, but I don't.
It's
I
like,
just eyes straight to the front, whatever. Make
Yeah.
no eye contact. Get what I'm getting, and get out of the store.
it's like I don't want to say anything wrong. I just want to get from point A to point B and back home. That's it. And it's like, and I think that's what everybody else is. That to the point that Steve was making. I don't think you should harass anybody, even if, regardless how peculiar they look.
I mean, it's a free country.
It's that part's free. I mean, people can say you can't you can't pass legislation if somebody looks wide eyed at you. You're like,
No,
what
but,
the hell?
but you got to think about all the.
We were headed that way.
But I mean, somebody who's dressing like that, all the trauma and the pain that they're going through mentally,
Yeah.
you don't want to add to that.
No, I don't see the need for that. I am basically a live and let live person. I mean, my dad was a person that he could talk to anybody, even if they had a horn in the middle of their head, he wouldn't recognize it.
But I mean, I've probably seen an abnormal amount of transgender because I work in mental health,
Right.
On a psych ward, and they're just regular people when it comes down to it.
They just have an issue.
Well, yeah, but no,
Okay.
they have usually if that's not the main issue.
No.
They've got other things going on like suicide, and it's bad.
It's and why make somebody else's life harder? I mean, it doesn't really concern you, and It's just going to be momentarily. I mean, if you're passing through each other's lives, I mean, that's it. It's a momentary thing. I mean, why worry about it? You
All
know,
right. So last thing for the day, what do you grade yesterday's inauguration speech on? How do you grade it? A
Like,
to B or A?
I didn't look at it as a speech. It was like him talking to the American people.
yeah.
What
It
would you?
wasn't a speech.
Yeah.
It was he was just talking
Right.
to
Yeah.
me.
What I've heard of his points and his highlights, when I walked away with like sanity's back, sanity's back.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, I mean, like the last 3.5 years or whatever. Oh my God, it's
It's
just
like waking up to me.
From a nightmare.
I don't even know if a nightmare, more like a coma. Like, no, I mean, think about it. It's like you're just cruising through life, just trying to do the best you could.
and so
Yes,
keep
I
your
mean,
head.
it was like the Matrix, sort of.
Kind of.
Like, is it real? Are we really doing this? Are we really having our vice president saying, "I'm a female. My
Pronouns are.
pronouns are she, her. I'm wearing a blue dress. I've got black hair. I'm wearing crappy makeup. I got some rings on, sitting at the desk, and I'm talking." And they went around the table doing that. Where they that's where I'm going, man. This is nuts.
It's like
Well, I loved it when she came out and said artificial
Well, I'm
intelligence.
not attacking her. I'm just using that as an example.
No, I loved it when she came out and said AI is, we have to understand the word artificial intelligence, but we don't know artificial intelligence. I looked and thought, oh my God, we are screwed. If she gets it, we're screwed.
Well, I like the explanation of a cloud. I mean, the cloud,
Well,
that was weird.
but
But
get
we
back
don't
to
have to worry about that no
getting
more.
back to it. I just like that he did say in the speech that he just addressed everything. He
Right.
said what he was going to do, and he later on the night he did it.
Yep.
That's like,
And everything was cool. And then okay, you got to also address the he didn't put his hand on the Bible, and they're trying to make a big thing out of that. And Elon Musk went, grabbed his heart, and turned his hand and threw it to the audience.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're trying to
so it was
say
like a
that
Ziggy
that was
Island.
his hand went. If you look at his hand, it goes and it rotates.
Right.
Right.
He said what he was doing when he did it. And those were the two big things that the media tried to make hay of.
I mean,
Trump didn't put his hand on the Bible, but you also the Chief Justice,
Sped it up.
he didn't ask him to do it.
right.
Because that's one of the things that if you listen to all the other oaths of office, so he all and it's the same one.
Right.
He's done it for Obama, all of them. John Roberts.
He screwed up. John Roberts screwed up Obama.
Yeah, by talking too fast. But what I'm saying is, you should put your hand on the Bible.
Right.
Right.
And he didn't say put your hand on the Bible for Trump. And Trump was probably trying to do everything right. Come on, even Trump's going to get nervous. Think about all
Well, let's face
the
it.
weight on his
Yeah.
shoulders when
Right.
he's doing that.
Besides, see, look at the nonstop campaigning and stuff he's been doing since all this started.
Okay, and then the other thing that he loves the song YMCA.
Right.
He loves it.
He went on a
They're
dance
trying
step.
I guess his sons and Elon Musk and a couple other people were doing that, and they were making fun of him for being gay. I'm talking about.
You know,
How stupid is that?
It's okay. It's from a
if you
group.
have nothing else to do, you just judge whatever.
And you look at it, he made that guy millions of dollars.
But
The singer, or the writer of the song,
right.
he made that group.
lots
He
of
made
money.
them. People want to have them for their parties now. He's
Yeah.
making all kinds of money, and I'm sure he's got people that go out just like Kiss has people that go out as Kiss that aren't Kiss, the
Right.
original members.
Yeah. People
I'm sure he gets
performing.
paid for that.
So, yeah. I mean, the left to me reminds me a bunch of high school
they're-
students.
And they'll turn on their own in a heartbeat if
they're vicious.
if they can make hay of something.
Oh, they let's face it, you're not being a purist enough. I mean, that's the communists are
But
like
that's a
that.
good thing. Like I said, next 4 years, what's left of this stupid
Right.
media as we used to know it 10 years ago will be gone.
Yeah.
It will be. And plus, I can't wait to see the first press conference or with his
The new
new. I
press
forget
secretary.
who his new person
I can't
is.
remember her name,
But she already said that like YouTubers and different things will be in there, prominent one. And plus, Infowars. I heard Alex Jones saying that he's going to send somebody there if they'll let him.
I
So
think
I'd like to see Joe Rogan there. That'd be cool.
But that was another. I don't know. Joe. Everybody usually sends a stringer. They don't go there in person. But what I thought was cool is how when he was signing the orders, he was talking to the press.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, I like that when he opened it up, that folder there, then he said about this is about to pull us out of the World Health Order. Ooh, he was like all happy about it. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it's
Yeah.
like that CNN dude said. What did you say? It's Chris something.
Scott.
He said we have a president now. Even CNN
Yeah, it's like
says it.
yeah, basically the last few days when Biden was in the public eye, they must have had him pumped full of chemicals to keep him propped up long enough to do what he had to do. I
Well,
mean, that's why I
he
look
came
at
down looking like a freaking zombie.
it.
When he came down yesterday,
Mhm.
he looked like a freaking zombie.
And I'm not enjoying this, people. I think it's tragic.
It's sad, and I think somebody needs to go after and find out who kept him in that. Well,
That's
that's
But what do you think about the rendition of "America the Beautiful"? What was her name?
Carrie Underwood. She
You
did
know,
a beautiful
she
job.
did that a cappella because
They
the
messed up.
music messed up. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
When
You heard the music pop up and then it cut.
and she just started singing. I think it was better because it echoed.
Oh, it was better. It was beautiful. She's got a
Well, she's got a great voice. I mean, for
But they were
She-
trying to make a big deal out of her going in, like they want to cancel her because
she went to
gonna sing.
she went there and did that.
well, let's face it. I mean,
Well, here's a funny thing: the Snoop Dogg, who I don't know,
Yeah.
back in November,
He's getting banked to be there. He didn't give a
yeah.
crap.
But here's the deal: he was there.
he
At
was,
the
and he
inauguration.
trashed people.
He trashed. He
people.
said, "I'll run
I don't know if he
away from
was
him."
at the inauguration.
He was
or
at
was he
inauguration
at one of the?
He was at like over the weekend.
Oh
He
yeah,
did the inauguration.
he was one of the entertainers. So was Rick Ross was.
Mhm.
But they were trying to cancel. They can't ever. This
Jason Aldean was
cancel
there.
culture is dead. Nobody can cancel anybody anymore.
No, because it's like, what are you going to do? Not buy our product? What are you going to do? Just go home.
He's already probably one of the richest guys in America. Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
He doesn't need their money. Carrie Underwood doesn't need their money.
Yeah, like Carrie gives a shit.
And who wants to go? Okay, who wants to go to the Country Music Awards after Beyonce wins?
Yeah, it's like
She just
Because
decides
she's
to
like a
sing a
song.
country music award, and she's gonna get a
Did
award.
did she just make one song that was country? Or was it
Oh,
the
they were
album?
stupid songs, too. There's no
This ain't
song on it.
Texas.
Oh.
It's just stupid. But Beyonce, she sings it, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh!"
I think she's done too. I think she's tooted her last horn.
I
I
think
mean,
she's
she's like
done.
40. So what is she in her 40s or
She's
early?
close to 50. She's close to.
She's
50.
done. Nobody wants anything to do with her anymore. No, it's crazy.
No.
These people when they're acting like they're still relevant when they're not,
No.
because it was only the media pushing it, and they can't anymore.
When you kill the media, you kill their hope against their influence.
Yeah, because that's what they depend on.
You know, one things I never found is I've never found any of these celebrities ever going to like they don't when they go to like a Bill Maher podcast when Bill talks to them, they look stupider than anything. John Cryer.
Mhm.
looked
Oh
like
my
the
god,
big-
I felt sorry for that idiot.
I did. After a few minutes, I'm like, oh my god, are
He
you
was
just
stupid on everything, not just world events, just
It's
in
local
general.
events, political events, anything. And Bill's like trying to help him and finally just like whatever and just tore into him. I think when Bill Maher looks like the most conservative guy on the one side, you know that the left has gone so far off the
Yeah, and whenever Bill Maher say stuff against like the political correct stuff and all that, when I saw that coming up and about this asinine shit, I thought that was amazing. And it's like, well, you're just speaking, that's just common sense.
He's
That's
like
all
a
it's coming
regular
through.
person.
Yeah, that's really common sense, and I think he's realizing.
I'm sure you heard the garage door bit that he did.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Fonda, and found out how stupid she was about, or not. How about ignorant of the tax situation in California?
Yeah, because if you don't do it, you don't understand what goes on to it. You have no experience with
But
it.
he had to explain all the rigmarole he had to go just to hang
A garage door.
his garage door.
Yeah,
Or change his garage
And
door.
she's like, well, but that had to matter somehow. Somebody had to have it. I'm like, think about it before you open your mouth. Just think before you say something. So, and you know what? It's
Play the
more
music,
our-
John.
our-
That's what he's saying. He's in control. We let him be the man one time. And he
Hell
just takes
yeah.
over everything.
Oh, I thought I